At CBF, we know that for you to change your body, you need to change your mind. Exercise and eating healthy is only part of the plan. We care about our members as we care about our family because our members become our family. It is not about competition, but support. It is not about being the strongest or the fastest, but about you defeating your negative self. It is about working together and making the task challenging and have fun. By the end, what matters is not how hard the session was, but that you take control of your mind so you can take control of your body. My name is Sandro Torres, and I'm happy you are part of our family. Welcome to Custom Body Fitness. Welcome everybody to another talk here with your health coach Sandro Torres. The other day I was having a conversation with my wife and she was saying that how come we don't get tired of the same person, and we've been together for 4 years. I'm not an expert in the topic of relationships. I failed so many times, but I can give you an advice about my experience. So when I was talking to my wife about why we don't get tired of each other, I explained to her that our relationship, marriage, is compared with a car. So I'm going to give you the analogy in a minute. But to begin with, I want to clarify a couple points. I'm going to talk about myself first. Before I fall into depression, I had a few relationships that I wasn't successful at. And the reason why is because it was all my fault. I was very dysfunctional. I was addicted to sex and I was addicted to pornography. I didn't care about women. I didn't respect that woman. And I only care about my pleasures. I'm not using this as an excuse. I'm only telling you my testimonial and the things that I went through and the reasons why I make these decisions. I come from a very dysfunctional family when my mom was a heavy alcoholic. And she used to do things in front of me that a kid didn't supposed to watch or see. And then I grew up in an environment where men, instead of respecting women, we bet in how many women we can sleep with. But I didn't know better. And once again, I'm not making this as an excuse. I'm just telling you what affected me to become the person who I was becoming. Plus, I didn't have a male role when I was growing up. My dad wasn't with us when I was growing up. My mom raised me alone, so I didn't have anybody who really taught me how to behave and taught me principles and taught me values and so on. Until one day I fell into depression, and that was when I turned 20 years of age. That was when I really hit rock bottom, and I understood that I was going into the wrong path. I noticed then that I was addicted to sex and pornography, but because society takes sex very light, we take it so light, and also we didn't see the value that it has, and it's just the value with pornography and the way we treat each other as in a relationship, and how we look to start a relationship with sex instead of other values. And because of that, it was difficult for me that I was addicted to it. I thought I was born that way. Now listen to that. I thought I was born that way, with that desire of having sex and watching pornography. I thought that was how God made me, and I had no solution until I fell into depression. Then I felt like I talked to God. I had an encounter with God. And with that, I don't mean like he was in front of me, or a voice came out of nothing and talked to me, but internally I had a very deep conversation. And I know it was God who actually was talking to me. And I asked myself a question. I say, why I'm suffering so much? And then inside of me, which it was, I had no doubt it was God who was talking to me, it said, because you're on the wrong path. Then I concluded, I say, well, if I'm in the wrong path, if I'm not here for my pleasures, what I'm here for? And then inside of me, I had a voice who answered, you're here to serve people. That's when I noticed that I was addicted to sex and to pornography, and I needed to do something about it. I'm not going to give you the whole details about everything, because this conversation is not about that. It's about marriage and how you can make your marriage wonderful and keep it healthy. But then when I fall into depression and I had that conversation, I noticed that I needed to rehab. My decision in that moment was that I would stop touching a woman and don't have sex until I will get married. Until then, I'll get married, and then I'll have sex with my wife. 3 years passed. In those 3 years, I didn't touch a woman. I learned a lot about myself. I learned about my addictions. I learned about relationship. I learned about respecting women. In those 3 years, I learned that. Also, I stopped watching pornography. I relapsed a couple times in those 3 years, but it wasn't minimum. And then until now, I haven't watched pornography in years. I'm talking around, when was that? 2010. Right now it's 2024. I'm thinking it has been 11 years since I watched pornography. 12 years since I did that. So I'm very clean. Thank God. But yeah, in those 3 years, I didn't touch any woman, and I learned a lot about relationships, like I said, about women, about sex, about love, and so on. I pick up books about how to have a wonderful marriage, how to please your partner, how to have a relationship with your wife, how men and women are different. I learned a lot of things. Needless to say, after those three years, I relapsed. I had sex before my marriage. I tried 3 relationships that didn't work, and I was doing my best this time to keep those relationships. Now it wasn't me being unfaithful, because before I used to cheat. I used to do all those things that I'm not proud of. But in this relationship, I wasn't cheating. I was committed to the relationship, and I was doing everything to make the relationship work. But for many reasons, didn't work. And 2 of the relationships, I decided to break up with a relationship. And one of them, the lady decided to break up. And it wasn't until I met Kathleen Force, who I had a therapy with, and she started asking me a lot of questions in the therapy. And finally, she said the key word. She said, the reason why your relationships are not working is because you like women that are in trouble, and you are aiming to save those women, because you see your mom in those women and you wanna save your mom. That hit right on the target. It completely made sense what she said. Then After that, that's when I met my wife, Gisela. She was very stable. She knew what she wanted. She is very a strong woman, and she's very decisive, and she values herself, and she has a lot of qualities. But I'm not here to talk about her qualities. I'm here to talk about that's when I met her, and we started dating. We dated for a year, and then finally we got married. And that's when the journey starts. We've been together. We've been married for almost 4 years, and we've been together for almost 5 years. And those 4 years has been magnificent, have been wonderful. That's the longest relationship I had in my life, and every year it's getting more excited. And the reason why I told her the relationship is like a car is because it has similar things. But before I give you those similarities, I'm going to tell you that for a relationship to work, first of all, you need to work on yourself. You need to understand that you may have addictions. And if you bring those addictions to the relationship is not going to work. Addictions like myself to pornography, to sex. If you don't clean yourself, and you don't understand that you need to rehab and you need to become better and you need to fix those issues, you are going to bring a nightmare to the relationship. So first, work on that. That's the first thing. And it's not only sex and pornography. It could be alcohol. If you're addicted to alcohol, that brings a toll to the relationship. And probably the relationship is not going to work, or you're going to make, once again, suffer. You're going to make your partner suffer because of that addiction. You also can have an addiction to a dysfunctional relationship. Of course, it's called dysfunctional relationship. So the relationship is not going to work. So also find out if you have that addiction. Whatever addiction you have, if it's in a destructive addiction, it's not going to work. So the first thing you need to do is work on yourself, rehab yourself. And once you rehab yourself, then you can start working a wonderful marriage. You start working a great relationship. So the first thing about a relationship is you need to find the right partner. And what I mean with the right partner is it needs to fulfill all the needs, all the standards that you're looking for. Just like you need to fulfill her standards, she needs to fulfill your standards. And with that in mind is the first thing, for example, for me, she needs to be open-minded. We need to grow as a team. We need to learn. We need to continue growing and finding the mistakes that we're making so we can work together. She needs to know her role as a woman just as me as a man. Those things about knowing the roles are very important because you don't want the woman to come and step and try to take your role when you the male, the leader of the house. Also, she needs to play her role just like you need to play your role. You need to be the protector. You need to be the provider. And that doesn't mean that she can get out there and work and do the things that she loves and things like that. No, she can do anything she wants if she wants to do it. But you're the one who provides. If she makes more money than you and she knows more than you or whatever it is, that's good. That's not a bad thing. But you need to provide because you, the alpha, you, the male, you, the guy who takes care of that. She needs to be a good mom. That's naturally in women. Usually when people are not dysfunctional, when people are good and they know how to play their roles, they know how to be good moms. There is ladies out there, they don't know how to be moms. They're worried about other things that don't really matter. But once again, I'm not here to judging them. I'm only saying that once they start finding those dysfunctionalities in their life, they start becoming a good woman. So for example, if they know how to play their roles, that's something that for me is very important. So those are a couple things. They are important. Now, she's gonna have flaws. She's gonna have negative things in her life, just like me. Look at me. I'm not perfect in any way. I make a lot of mistakes in my life, and but we need to accept those flaws. If you know you can live with those flaws, that's okay. If you think you cannot live with those flaws, that means that that's not your partner. You need to find somebody else. And that's one of the reasons why sex is not recommended before marriage, because sometimes we become so addicted to that feeling of sex that we don't know if we want to be the person because of the wonderful sex that we have, or we're going to be with the person because of who she is. And when there is no sex in the relationship, that means that you learn how to separate one with the other. Now, that's my recommendation. Like you probably already know, I made many mistakes, so I'm not here to judge you to what you do in your relationship and marriage. I'm just telling you what I learned. So once you do that, once you find your partner and you know it meets your standards and you meet her standards, then you need to commit. Commitment is one of the things that many of us are afraid of. We want to put one foot in and one foot out, and just in case that something goes wrong, we can run away. And sometimes when we not commit, anything that goes wrong with her family, anything that goes wrong, any fight, anything that you don't like or whatever, or anything that is a catastrophe or whatever, instead of both of you two fighting for the relationship, it's easier to say goodbye. I see you later. Let's stay like friends. You with your problems, stay with my problems, instead of fighting for the relationship. So you need to commit to your relationship for your relationship to work. So the same goes with a car. For a car, it needs to meet your needs. What is it that you're going to use the car for when you buy a car? Is it that you want to race it? Get a fast car. Get a cool car. You have a family and you like to travel. How many are in your family? Then that race car, even though it's fast and it's beautiful, it's not gonna be what you need. You're probably gonna need an SUV or a van if you wanna take your family traveling, for example. Now, if your economy situation is not the best, then you don't want a car that spends a lot of gas. You want a car that doesn't spend a lot of gas in the highway or whatever you're traveling. A car that you can afford with insurance, a car that you can afford with the payments. So depending on the car that you're looking for, that's what you're gonna buy. If you buy yourself a sport car and then you have a family, so then that's not gonna fit, right? If you're gonna go and race your car and you have a minivan, probably it's not gonna be the best racing car, right? Now, if you can't afford a SUV, there is 8 cylinders, spends a lot of gas, and then the insurance is expensive, you're gonna be living to just support the car and pay the car. It's not gonna work. You want something smaller that takes you from work to home and that you can afford, so it's not eating your paycheck. So that's one thing. Once you buy the car, you commit to the car, right? For example, myself, I'm not those kind of person who goes and, okay, I'm tired of my car, I'm gonna replace it. I think it's a waste of money, and with this in mind, I'm not saying that other people should be doing what I do. I'm just saying myself, when I'm gonna buy a car, I make sure it's the car that I really want and I need. It's something that I'm gonna be happy with, that it's gonna meet my standards, it's gonna have everything I need. And I usually stay with that car 4 years until it's not longer working. I don't like to go out there and replace my car only because I'm tired of the car. So that leads me to the next point, which is you need to find all the good things on the relationship. Like I say, my wife has flaws just like me. But if I focus on all the negative things she has, then I'm not gonna be loving my wife. I'm gonna be hating her. And soon enough, I'm gonna try to find somebody else. The same with the car. If I focus on all the negative things that the car has, soon enough, I'm gonna probably want to buy a new car. And that happens with everything, with your country, with your house, with your clothes or anything. Do an experiment and start seeing all the negative things where you live, on your house, on your dishwasher, on your table, on your TV, on whatever. If you start seeing all the negative things, you're not going to be happy because you see all the negative things and you probably want something else that doesn't have those negative things in the moment. But if you focus on the negative things or the other things that you buy or you get it, then the same thing is gonna happen, and you probably want to buy a different thing or get a different thing because you're focusing on those negative things. So it's very important that you focus on the positive things. For example, I focus on all the positive things that my wife has. So the same with my cars. The cars, the things that I love is how they look, how they drive, how they perform. I mean, I can tell you about all the good things that I focus on my cars, but I feel like those things are only material things, so I'm not going to say much about them, but that's the other point. Now, the next point is maintenance. Maintenance is the most difficult thing about relationship. Maintenance, when we start dating, we want to do everything to impress the lady, everything that is possible. We buy flowers, we take him to expensive dates, we dress immaculate, we take care of our body, we are clean, we open the door for her, we do a lot of things. Once we feel safe in the relationship, we stop doing those little things. And that's when those little things really matter. Buying flowers, buying details, listening to her what she wants, listening to her when she needs to be listened, opening that door for her, helping washing the dishes, helping with those little things, taking the trash out, dressing yourself immaculate like when you used to date her, having days, and doing all those little things maintains the relationship. The same with the car. For the car to last long, you need to maintenance the car. If you don't maintenance the car, if you don't do the oil change, if you don't change the air filters, if you don't change the brakes, if you don't change the tires, if something sounds like it's gonna break and you don't replace it and so on, the car is gonna break in one point because you don't maintenance the car. The same thing with your relationship. If you don't manage your relationship, it's gonna break. Those are a couple of things that a relationship and a car have in common. Of course, with a relationship, you invest in emotions, feelings, your soul. You invest in more than only a material thing. So you probably already know that your relationship is very important. So maintenance that. Maintenance your relationship. Commit to relationship. Looking for the good things. Meeting that person's standards. Looking for the person that meets your standards are very important. Now with a car, it's not something when you invest in your soul and emotion and emotionally something that has value. It has only material value, of course. So with your relationship is going to be a lot more important and more difficult to maintenance than a material thing such a car. Plus, you're dealing with a human being. You're dealing with somebody who's completely different than you, that you need to understand, and you need to give that person space. And with a car, it's not the same thing. With a car, you invest in time that doesn't have any feelings. So, as you probably already know, your relationship is more important. So there you have it. I hope you like that advice, and how can you make your relationship exciting, and how can you make it functional and fun and healthy. That's how I make my relationship that way. And I hope you like that analogy. But remember, the first thing that you need to work on is going to be yourself, so your relationship works. Thank you for listening to this talk. I hope you like it. This is not about weight loss this time. This is not about toning your body, getting in shape, setting your mind to the right state so you can be in shape. This time is about relationship. Hopefully you like it. Please share it with somebody who needs to listen to this. And your health coach says bye for now.
Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you enjoyed the content offered here, then I know you will enjoy these books. These are great tools to lead you to successful weight loss, better health, and greater happiness.